All right, good morning, everyone.
Well,
My name is Patrick Baker, and this is Senior Tech Coffee. Welcome. Today we have a special guest, Marybeth Van Horn from Electronic Caregiver, and she's going to be presenting about her company's products and services and how they help older adults age in place and live independently, and also to keep caregivers and family members informed about their well-being. So, Senior Tech Coffee is sponsored by Prime of Life Tech. That's my company, and I provide simplified technology solutions for older adults, home automation using smart home technology. And you can find out more about me at primeoflifetech.com. So as I mentioned, we're going to be discussing Electronic Caregiver, and Marybeth has some live demonstrations for us today, and as well as some information that we've shared. There's a couple of PDFs, as I mentioned earlier, that are available for download, and you can use those, access those, and use those to follow along as you see fit. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And Marybeth, welcome.
thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Patrick.
So before we dive into your presentation, maybe you could just give us a little bit of background about, or yeah, some of your background. You know, how did you get into working with Electronic Caregiver? And please take it away.
Thank you. Oh gosh, I've been a nurse, it seems forever, at least 40 some years, and have seen so many different innovations and changes in the medical field over those years. And I've often said that I happen to have had the great benefit of being at the beginning as a pioneer in so many new innovations in medicine that changed the world. And one of the examples would be that I was the very first nurse in Illinois to hang the first bottle of TPN. And if you're not familiar with that, that was the IV that saves lives, that in the past we used to just give sugar water and salt water to people. And they were dying on the bed because they were starving to death. And when TPN came into play, we could save lives. We could save them viably in the intensive.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was the first one to hang that bottle in Illinois.
Wow,
And
that's
we did,
amazing.
we did the first liver transplant in Illinois, and I was part of that team as well. So long career, wonderful career. I did so many different things. And in 2015, on my website, you might have seen that, Patrick, I had a fall. And I was 62, and I was going to the gym that day. So I wasn't a feeble, rickety old lady. I was a pretty active person, and I was a personal trainer for 10 years. So what happened is that I stepped on black ice. And as we all know here in Colorado, that black ice is a factor in February. And that's the month that I was injured. And when I stepped on that ice, my right leg snapped in the air. And I fell to the ground so hard. If your leg breaks in the air, you're going down fast. And I broke my wrist, and all of my vertebrae went forward. I was in a hospital bed for several months. That whole story is on my website, and I'll be happy to share that too, where we can, somehow. And you can contact me through Patrick or whatever if you have more questions. But that event was key in many ways. I was in front of a business, and I was in a parking lot.
Wow.
Thank God someone saw me in the parking lot laying there. If they hadn't, I might have been run over by another car. But what happened was the person went on their cell phone and they're dialing 911. There's a lady in the parking lot. And the question from 911 was, what's your emergency? And then what's your location? And they kept pressuring this person. What's your location? She said, well, I'm in front of this store. And 911 didn't really know where I was if they didn't have an address. So that took 20 minutes longer to get to me in a town where help is literally minutes away, large medical center
Right.
here. And so 20 minutes is a lot of time when you're bleeding. And what I found out was that when I got to the emergency room, the trauma surgeon said, we can't open her now. She's hemorrhaging too badly. I would have been able to have help sooner had I had this device that I'm going to talk about today. The Premier is what we call it in our company. But safety at the push of a button, as well as geo positioning. So for those who don't know what geo positioning is, it means we put a coordinate on a person. So we know where they are, whether they're in a park or elsewise. You don't have to have an address to get help immediately from our system. And when I saw that, I thought, this is 5 years ago when I started with the company. I was like, that's
Right.
changing that could change the world. I mean, I have a futuristic view because I saw things in medicine that changed the world. And so I was like, wow, we didn't even have our pro health, which I'll talk about today yet. But we did have the vision for Addison. And Addison, the CEO of the company actually flew out and met me, which was fantastic. I mean, I thought, what a great company this is. How often does that happen? I met with him and he was talking about the safety device, et cetera. And then all of a sudden he showed me Addison, which if you go on, again, electroniccaregiver.com, you will see information about Addison, which will be the, I believe, world changer in the future. And I have an eye for that. And I saw it and I said, I'm with this company. This is the company I want to be with. And that's how I came to
Nice.
Electronic Caregiver.
Cool. Well, I'm anxious to, and the audience as well is anxious to hear more about your products and what they can do. So
Thank you.
let's dive in.
All right. And I want to start with our Premier because all of our technology is based on what is in our basic products. We only have at the moment 2 products we specialize in. We don't have a million products out there and we're trying to fit these in. We have 2 products that we have given all of our time and energy and innovation into at the moment to make sure that we have the best of the best. And the Electronic Caregiver Premier is a safety device that can go anywhere with you in the world. So I wear mine here on my wrist and I chose this color. It's plum color. But why the wrist, first of all? Because studies have shown that if you fall, let's just take falling. If you're strangled, if you're choking, where are your hands? By your face. When I fell, this wrist was broken, this arm was here. Of course, because you're trying to break a fall. So the wrist is the fastest way to get help. The fastest. You're going to literally touch and get help. Being choked, choking, etc. And if your friends know about it, and you make sure you tell your friends, I have one of these devices, because you don't want them calling on their cell phone. You want them to use this because our company has a profile on you. And our company knows your wishes. They know who your responsible parties are. 911 does not know that if you call it directly. So, wow, what an advantage. Seconds again matter. And especially when people are nervous in the middle of an auto accident, you're scared, you're shaky.
Sure.
What are you going to do? Ding. We do have an option to wear it around the neck. Our neck pendant is extremely light. I want to make sure I mention that because things that are heavy around the neck are why people are switching to us. This I'm showing is very flexible, very floppy, our wristing. Why? Because it's extremely light. Our innovators went into that. They wanted to know what's going to be light and comfortable, flat, so that you can dry it with your towel. This is water resistant right here. So you can go into a shower and you can be in water aerobics where I go, and you can wear our safety device even in those two modalities. The other thing is you can wear it anywhere in the United States. So it goes with you wherever you go. And that's valuable because many people visit and are mobile. When you talk about the aging process, you and I have talked about, Amanda, you could, chime down the road, you can tell us that there are stages to the aging process, right? It's a process. It's normal to be a very active 50-something, going up mountains, hiking in Colorado, everywhere. However, the next stage, often, not always, but the next stage is medical conditions or an accident like I had. If you have an accident, a major accident like that, it does change things for a while.
You bet.
I was in a hospital bed for, I think, 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I was in rehab for a year and a half.
So back to the wearable,
Yeah.
just for a second.
Sure.
So am I pushing a button And do I have two-way communication with someone in a call center on the other end?
Yes, and then we have a
how,
second, we have this, it's called we call it a handset or a mini controller, relay, whatever you want to call it. And people can hit either one. You can see there's a button here as well. And I'm going to go ahead and push that button. Is that okay? And show you
sure,
what it sounds like. I don't know what the sound's going to be like on YouTube, but I'm going to do it anyway. You hear a beep, you see a light. I don't know if you can see that.
sure.
Dialing the emergency response center now. To cancel this call, press and hold the emergency call button for 3 seconds now.
So when you press and hold, the light will go off. I tell most of my
Call has
customers,
been canceled.
and they cancel. So I tell most of my customers, you hear a beep, we want to make sure you hear something. This way, you still hear something because you're going to click it, push it, and then you're going to hear a beep again. Okay. Same thing. This one is again fastest, right? Because it's right on your wrist. It'll relay to this. And
Okay.
so when you push this button here, you'll feel it click. Those are the reasons we do this, is so that people, they're locating. But one of the reasons we do it that way is so that they can feel something, they can hear something, a sound, and they see something, a light. We do have some customers, I have some customers that are pretty much near deaf, you know, they just don't have the hearing ability. So they're very grateful to have a light. They know when they've pushed their button. Some people have visual problems, so we have a sound. So we've thought of everything, and essentially, and that's how it works. And so this device here is our relay. It has all the electronics in it. And what I tell people is you wouldn't bring your cell phone into the shower with you typically. Why? Because it's electronic. Patrick, you
Right.
know better than anybody, you know. And
Yeah.
so
It won't work when you leave the shower.
we, I know, thank you. We're just testing.
Okay, and your full name, please?
Marybeth Van Horn.
Perfect. And just confirming everybody's fine and your test.
Yes, everyone's fine.
All right, ma'am. Thank you for testing. Have a good day.
Thank you. Might not be able to hear that as well on YouTube, but he did answer. And you hear that they end the call. There's a couple of reasons for that as well. Electronic Caregiver makes sure that people are safe. If you couldn't hear what he was saying, is everyone all right? So you're in the middle of an auto accident. You're in the middle of somebody shooting at a grocery store. Whatever's happening, right? We've had that in Colorado. You can say, I'm fine. Tell my family, my responsible parties, that I'm fine, because they're going to wonder, because they knew I was going to go there at that day, right? I'm fine, but I need other people around me need help. They will send help. So that's why I said, is everyone all right? Secondly, they hang up. We do not hang up on our system. Why? Because during assault, let's just take that example. This is a recorded event with rapid response, our responders. So during an assault, they want to make sure everyone truly is okay before they release the call. And I had a customer who, she's, I don't know, 80, in her 80s, not that old, but she fell over her vacuum in her home, vacuuming. She hit the beautiful solid oak table that she had. And she
Ouch.
broke her ribs immediately, fell to the floor. She did have our device right there close by, thank you God, because she said that she hit it. She knew exactly what to do. They had the profile on her. She didn't have to answer a bunch of questions. They knew who to call, and they knew where to go in the house. These are huge things, big difference.
Sure.
They knew her. We actually put in their garage code or their lockbox because this is a highly secure system. We're not just putting information out there. So these people are totally protected. They've totally orchestrated their emergency. And when the responders came, they knew exactly how to get in the house. No doors broken. They knew exactly what room she was in, what was wrong with her medication profile, her medicine profile. You can see, Patrick, how that's unbelievable. And the responders who come when our people call are always blown away. And they're always like, what is this? You know, we want this because you triaged before we got there. We already were set up in the ambulance.
Yeah. That's huge. Just to have just the basic background information in terms of, well, even location, first off, like you mentioned with your anecdote with your fall in the parking lot, but not only where they are, but where specifically they are in the residence. Now, is that something that the person communicated to them, or is that something they were
Yes.
able to
She was able to
okay,
talk. She was
okay,
talking to our people and said, I'm in the dining room. And I've fallen, I've this, I've that. If for any reason during the process she passed out, our people are still there. They know what her profile is, because people can have push the button and then have something happen that they
sure,
lose consciousness. So that's another big advantage. Again, they know it's not like she just lost contact because she couldn't talk anymore.
right.
And
Understood. And then presumably the folks in the call center could notify the first responders that, this person has lost consciousness, or, that's that kind of thing.
yes,
So,
not responding. We don't know why. She might be conscious, but unable to speak if it's a
well, true. Yeah.
So again, beyond all of that, they know the responsible parties, right? So they know to call my daughter, call my son, call, whatever the person's wishes are on our profile. It's not a contract, it's a profile. So uh, we don't take contracts for years and people aren't tied in, but they do have a profile with us that is pulled up immediately. So call my daughter first, call my son, whatever, they can choose that. They can, if they have a DNR, they can, we
Yeah.
have it on the record and where it is, so that again, their wishes are honored. We respect people's wishes and we want everyone to have an individual experience with our company, which is again why I'm a representative here. I'm a real person who comes to their door, helps them, guides them for the best fit for them.
Right.
Uh,
S- Um, so how much setup is involved with
plug,
getting
plug and
your
go,
system
Patrick.
installed?
Plug and go. It comes with, this is the charger. It plugs in. As soon as you plug it in, you place the handset on it. And then it'll charge. And once it's charged, it can hold a charge for a couple days. But I always tell my customers, why do you want to remember 3 days? Right? Nobody wants to remember something like that. So just throw it on there every day for a little while you're having your coffee. Once it's
Sure.
fully charged. And so yes, it is a chargeable system. Some people ask me that question a lot, and then they say, when do I replace the battery? There's no battery replacing. Our company takes care of everything. The equipment is at no charge, and they are amazing. Our customer service is, in my experience, the best, the best, the best. They will send immediately another one of whatever it is that if a person likes or doesn't like or wants. And our
So
little box. Go ahead. I'm getting ahead of you. Go ahead.
no, that's okay. Go ahead.
Our little
Please.
box, I call that my little box of wonder, has many more features. Just in this one small thing, we can have medication reminders. I don't know if you looked at my website. If you did, you'd know that already, or that flyer. If you're following along with me
Yes.
on the flyer that this little square button here is a second button. Why? Well, okay, that tells you that my one customer said, this means I need help. This means I got it. Basically, a person can have their medication reminders, not only medications, but if they're supposed to remember to exercise because they just came home from rehab, or specific things daily can go on there. And this will also make a sound and light up green. So you have a sound again, a button again, and a light. So it makes a light around a green. And I always tell my customers, if you see that light up, just push it. That's all they need to know. This isn't complicated for our aging population or our children. We have young children on this program. So
Really cool.
yeah, our youngest customer in our company, I think, is 4 years old. So they have to know quickly and how. And if there's a school shooting, you don't want to be thinking. You got to just push and tell my mom I'm okay. I'm in classroom B. Whatever. This here, mom can, or wife or whoever can send them a message as well. Got it. I'm glad you're safe. Whatever. When we had Columbine shooting here in Colorado, my kids were in high school, and that was one of the things we were all concerned about, where's our kid? That's
Sure.
all you thought. And we couldn't get through those lines. Of course, the police had it all buried. And I would have been wonderful to be able to tell my kid, I'm close by, tell me where you're at. But it's not two-way, it's one way. So the kid can push this, or the wife or the mother or the whoever's at the mall, and they're doing, you know, something's happening at the mall or in their senior center that is now burning. Fires happen. Tell my daughter I'm okay, because that'll be the first question the daughter has when they hear that this place is burning. And then the daughter can message the person, or someone can message the person on our app, which I'll explain in a second, but it'll light up green light, push, green light square, push. And then they will hear their family member giving them a message. Hey, Mom, I heard that, you know, there's a fire at your place. I hope you're okay. Please call me as soon as you can. There's a hurricane in, you know, Florida. I just want to make sure you're safe because all cell phones are down. We have that ability. Our rapid response never goes down. So we have the best responders that there are in the industry. And we have mirror facilities on both sides of our country. They will never go down, despite weather, brownouts, blackouts, whatever.
So just a couple questions while we're sort of have a pause. So you have to have the handset and the wearable work as a pair, correct?
Yes.
So if I'm going to go to the mall, if I'm going to go to the grocery store, I need to have the handset with me when I leave the house. And do they work over, how do they talk to each other? Is it like over like at the cell network, or?
It's cell and satellite. So
Okay.
we have both coverage. So we have cell towers, half of them, as the people in Electronic Caregiver can correct me if I'm incorrect, but I believe we have over half the cell towers in the United States. So everywhere I've gone, I've been able to get it, even remote Colorado. I have mountain climbers on this, mountain bikers and everything on this, and none of them have ever had a problem getting our coverage. So that's important to know as well. So this is only for speed. This is why we have this. This is the fastest way, like I said, but this is the guts. This is the whole thing in one.
Sure.
I do have some mountain bikers that just choose to wear this. Some young people don't want to wear anything. They just want something on their person. That's fine. I tell them that that's fine. This is the all-in-one. You get help, you get messages, everything is here. You can talk to our call center in this one part. You don't have to have both parts. However, I just encourage them to wear the other piece because it's for speed. In cases of avalanche, and I don't know, I was talking to somebody about avalanche, if they could push it and if they could be located. You know, I'm not 100% sure of that answer, but I believe that no matter what in the future, if there is a way to do that, we will have that way. Might be here now, as far as I know, depending on the depth of the avalanche. My friend's son was just recently in an avalanche, which we know now is avalanche time in the United States. So, and anybody who's listening might have grandkids and kids who are active that way, out and about doing stuff that are sports. But I believe that he would have been possibly saved by our device had he had it faster. They did save him, but it would have been, I think, a little faster.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of applications for this. One more I want to say, me
Sure.
and my stories, right?
Please.
I have a young woman on my service that's in her 20s. She was in downtown Denver one night, and she always has her wrist device on, and then she has this in her purse always. That's kind of how I carry it too, because I always have my purse with me. Like that, me and my purse are inseparable when I leave the home. Or keychain. You know, a lot of people carry a keychain. She thought she was being followed. So she pushed her wrist, because it's fast, and she was shaky, but she told our call center, I'm being followed. Will you stay with me till I get safe in my apartment? They did. It's as if someone's walking with you on a recorded event. She's describing the person, saying, you know, they're this, they're that, they're getting closer, whatever. And they stayed with her, till she got in her apartment safe. The would-be perpetrator took off, but now there's a description, etc. So that's another application. And I had a friend tell me once that she's in her 40s, I think. She runs in the back the hogback area here in Littleton. And I'm like, you're running by yourself? Are you crazy? By yourself? Didn't she see the videos of the mountain lions? I'm like, ah. But she said that she didn't need it because she had concealed weapon carry. And I have a rural home. So I said, yeah, I have concealed weapon carry as well. However, in our class for concealed weapon carry, they told us that if you use your weapon, you will be in court. And this would be a recorded event then for your defense. More application. This just goes on and on, Patrick. This little box of wonder does everything, right? Medication reminders, family care app that I alluded to is on the telephone. It's called 24/7 remote care. And I turned my phone off for this interview, so I didn't want to have disturbance, but there's a telephone app for family members. They can locate a person if they haven't heard from them in a while. We have some of our aging population or kids who've been kidnapped or whatever, that once they aren't in communication, they're like, where are they? So of course we can locate at least the last location. Today, 3 days and 7 days. So we can go up to 7 days and find people that might be lost on.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that's important too, right? So again, numerous applications for everything we've got. We also have, you can wander away from our main box here that's sitting wherever you charge it. But if you're a person who's confused and your family wants to know if you wander away from the house, you can go up to about 400 feet and we have it programmed that they notify the daughter, the son, whoever wanted that, that they wandered away and locate them.
Oh, so if you're 400 feet away or more from the handset, or is it from the base that plugs in the wall?
This is the base that plugs in the wall and the
Okay.
handset sits on it. If it's a person who's at home all the time. Otherwise you have the handset with you, right? You're not roaming away from it. So let's say you left it on your kitchen table. You go out to the mailbox. Now you're within maybe the 400 feet, or you go in the yard and twist your ankle. You can still push this, but how can you talk to somebody 400 feet away from you?
Right.
Especially if you're like me with hearing deficit,
Yeah, I wouldn't hear it.
I wouldn't hear it, right? So it doesn't, I tell people that's okay. You're going to get help, but it's going to be exactly as you orchestrated it on your profile. So on the profile, we ask if you push the button and you can't talk, if you push the button and and I always say the examples are choking, having a stroke, migraine, you can't talk. What do you want done? Do you want immediate paramedics? Do you want us to call responsible party 1, 2, 3? If one answers, they'll tell us what to do. Oh, I'll have the front desk check on mom. She's in an independent living. Okay. Number 3, do not dispatch unless someone tells you. So they get those options again, integrity, honoring, respecting whoever's wishes they are. And if that's their wishes, those are their wishes. So if they're on the yard and they push their button, we're going to do what the profile says that we're going to do, because that's their wishes. Some people with DNR, I always tell them, that's fine. You have a DNR, no problem. But you don't want to lay there suffering in the yard with a broken ankle. Right?
Right.
So potentially, if it's an at-home person I've had this too, where people are in a hospice or they're not, they're not probably getting out of the house much except to go to doctor's appointments or chemotherapy or whatever. That in that case, not unless someone tells you, that's fine. Don't send anybody unless someone tells you, because they're probably gonna, they're at the point of life that they're probably not gonna make it if they have, a terminal illness such as that. Yeah. However, we want to respect them. If they say, no, I want a full blown, send the paramedics, we're sending the paramedics.
Sure. Understood.
So wandering away is important to know, because there was an episode here in Colorado where a woman wandered away from an assisted living. It's going to probably become a famous case unless it gets settled. But this person's been very vocal, her daughter, on Facebook. So I'm free to say it. I won't say the place or names, but this woman wandered away in the middle of the night last February. And I think it 12 degrees out,
Mhm.
light pajamas. And such a tragic story, but she wandered and went out the door. 2 shifts went by. They didn't notice she was gone. Now, this is during COVID, and we don't know what was going on during COVID as far as staffing problems or whatever, but she froze to death right outside the assisted
Ugh.
living. And I thought to myself, the trauma of that, the guilt of my friend and her family, just
Oh,
all
sure.
it runs in the, but I do know that if she had our system and it was sitting there and then she had wandered, they would have notified somebody. That would not have happened.
Right.
Could have saved that life. Not to say that she wasn't going to die in the near future, maybe, but for the dignity and the I want to say the peace of mind for the family if she had died naturally as opposed to that.
Sure. Definitely.
Right? And I always say I hate to tell good doom and gloom stories, but
Well, but that's the
the
reality. Yeah.
reality, when people tell me, "Oh, I'll think about it," "Oh, I'm not ready for that." Ready for that? I'm like, what? I believe every American will have a safety device in the very near future. Every American. So it's up to you. You want the best of the best, or do you want to, whatever's the cheapest thing you can get? You've just heard the amount of service we have in this one little product. I haven't even talked about our other products. Why? Because this is the core of all of our innovation, right? It shows that we've thought of everything. Electronic Caregivers is the best of the best. And we're going to be protecting people all over this country long time in the future. We're not going anywhere. I think I've hit everything about the premier. Um,
I was
it
going
al-
to say, I know that there's some telemedicine applications to your products that we haven't even touched on yet, like some of the medical devices that can feed data into the system. I also would like to maybe get a little more details about the app or the web portal that you use to look at all this information. So
yeah.
let's talk about some of those things.
Well, and again, here it is with this premier, this little wonder box of wonder. We do have a doctor service. It's called Pocket MD. So again, there you are. We have doctor from the base, and we have doctor for the Pro Health. You'll see that. I've sent both flyers out, but the base the base unit has that square button. If you're so sick and you're laying in bed and you don't want to go anywhere to a doctor's office and be around other sick people or whatever we experienced during COVID, I used this before COVID, but you push this little square button and it lights up. And I don't know if you'll be able to hear this.
Dialing Pocket MD now. To cancel this call, press and hold the square button for 1 second.
So that's Pocket MD. In your pocket, you have a doctor.
And so what does that give you? Does that tell
Okay.
us what happens next?
When Pocket MD answers that, you say, "Oh my God, I'm so sick. I need to talk to a doctor. I don't even want to go to, next door." They do have to call you back with that system on a telephone. So they will ask for your callback number. Typically, the doctors call back within 20 minutes, but they're given a window up to an hour. Every time I've ever used it, I've had 20 minutes. Literally, actually 5 minutes. They've called me right back. I've used it a number of times. That service alone has, I think, is worth the money that we pay anyway. But those doctors have saved our lives. They've done all kinds of things for us. But I will say that it's a great service. The doctors are very, very good at triage. You do get a dashboard. You can sign into Pocket MD and you can go on a computer if you're able to do that, if you're a person who's good at that. And you can go on the computer and you can put your medical profile in so they already know everything about you before they answer the call if you want to. So I put everything in there, my broken leg, everything that happened to me. And then even because if my husband called for me, I want them to all know that. So what happens is that then the doctor calls you or the person on the other line says, I have a rash. I was bit by I don't know what I was bit by. I have you have the option to send them a picture on your phone if you have a smartphone or on your computer. So when my husband he got a rash Christmas Eve, 10 minutes before midnight, on Christmas Eve, and we're, tired. And he goes, Mary
Sure.
Beth, look at my rash. There's something wrong. I look at his leg. He has a full-blown cellulitis. His little calf was like that big. I said, that's a
Ooh.
medical emergency. What are you doing? And he said, well, I didn't want to ruin Christmas. I said, oh my gosh, let's call Pocket MD. We didn't go to the urgent care. Pocket MD, I sent a picture of the rash, says to my husband, you have a cellulitis. My husband goes, I know, my wife just told me, I'm a nurse, right? So they ordered the antibiotic, e-scripted to the nearest 24-hour pharmacy that was open. And we got the med in 10 minutes, and he didn't go to the ER at all and was
So
treated.
the prescription was delivered to your home.
Well, we could have had it delivered if we wanted, because nowadays
Okay.
that's another thing during COVID. You could say, we can't leave, or I just ran over there.
Sure.
And in 10 minutes, he had the appropriate antibiotic and was treated. And they ordered enough for the duration of the treatment. They didn't just give him 24 hours to get to enough to get somewhere. No, it was a full prescription for him. And he never did go to the emergency room, and his cellulitis completely cleared up in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
They won't order addictive medications or lifestyle medications, but antibiotics, or we have stewardesses that want Tamiflu immediately because they've been exposed to the flu, and that has to be taken within the first 24 hours of exposure. And those stewardesses get it right there to the plane, and less than an hour, like while they're on the ground.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. Traveling, I had a family with 6 kids. They traveled to Florida. Everybody got strep throat, treated immediately. You can have up to 6 people on our Pocket MD. Think of that. So I have my grandson on it, my husband, and so they can have the service as part of base fees, which are $39.95, $49.95, and $59. They don't change for the, you called Pocket MD 10 times, it's going to cost you more. No, it isn't. Not with us. And Pocket MD, what was I going to say else about that? 6 people can be on it. Oh, and then we have on their web, if you get your dashboard set up, you can have access to specialists. So you can talk to an alternative medicine doctor online. You can talk to a pharmacist, dentist, sports medicine doctor. So we have
dermatologist.
I think there's a dermatologist. I know there's a psychologist. That's important too during COVID.
Interesting.
Especially when people were at home, right? So we're the only ones that I know of that have all that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about the devices that you can also use with your system, such as things like a pulse ox monitor, blood pressure cuff.
Yeah.
And
that's really that's why I centered so much on Premier, because it's a similar, same stuff, but you do get a home-based hub, which is a plug-in again, plug and go. So this is Pro Health. Now we're talking about a different product, but Pro Health, you see that there's an emergency button, and there's a messaging button, and there's a team button. This is our Pocket MD. This is get help at the touch of a button. This is getting messages. People can give you a message. Your home care nurse, your can send you a message. It will again light up. You will know that you got it, and you push it and you get it.
And it's a voice message, right?
Yes, voice.
Yeah.
We don't have Addison out yet. So, and then if you take your what we call biometric or peripheral, such as an oximeter, and you push it, the home base will talk to you, and it'll start to tell you that you're connected by Bluetooth, right? So these are Bluetooth.
Connected to pulse ox. This process will take approximately 30 seconds. Please make sure the display on your meter is on the top of your finger. Please breathe normally. Please minimize hand movement.
So basically she's instructing you, right?
Yeah.
And then she'll tell you the reading as well. It doesn't just record it. So once it's recorded, it's going to a dashboard, secure dashboard right away. So you can look at trends, right? So if you take your pulse ox 4 times a day for the next week.
Your pulse oxygen reading is 99. Your heart rate reading is 102 beats per minute.
Because I'm shaking it. But You
Thank
get,
you for taking your pulse ox reading.
so she
Please
stops it.
remove from your finger. Your device will power off automatically.
So that's how that works. And again, that same technology we talked about with the other device, some of it is similar here. So that when a person transitions now they have medical conditions or have had like I did, a severe injury, that's not foreign to them. It's, okay, okay, push a button, I do that. This is for more home-based though. They're not taking this around with them. It does have a wristband if you're up in the bathroom in the shower and something happens. So it can relay to the home base in the house. But this is the next step then for people who have conditions. And we
Sure.
have a same thing, blood pressure cuff. It all comes as separate peripherals, but the monthly fee is the same. It's a static fee, $59.95 for all that doctor service. Some of my customers say, and we get you a nurse. We have a full urgent care in our living room. And I'm like, yes, you do actually. And I have
Nice.
customers call me. They call me with their questions, right? I love it. I love my customers. They love me. It's, we also have the course since COVID, the touchless thermometer, and
Right.
that's, you could take your temperature, your pulse, your blood pressure, your blood sugar. We have weight, we have spirometer to see about your lung capacity, which was
Right.
highly important, right, during COVID. But now, anyway, regardless of COVID, any condition, you're having trouble with your lungs or breathing. And we do glucometer. Glucometer, even though we have Bluetooth devices, I get that question all the time. Why don't we do Freestyle Libre then? Really, truly, glucometer is still the most accurate blood sugar you can have. And until that technology really comes up to speed and changes, we're going to keep sticking with the glucometer.
Sure.
But weight is important when you have, a condition and you're retaining water. Or if you're a person who's having gastric stapling or gastric bypass surgery, and weight's going to be important. So there's a lot of reasons why we have the 6 that we do have, and each of them are only a one-time charge. So it's not like you're charged monthly for each peripheral. You're only charged $59.95 for the monthly fee. So
Nice.
I don't see anybody on the call here though, like our Denver Senior Coalition, where we have so many assisted livings and independent livings and all those home cares and things. They should, I hope, I'm going to send this out to them. So Patrick, if you let me give the link to people.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
They should know that this kind of stuff is available and it's going to make a big difference in anything. These mobile health people, if they knew all the data before they got there, you see how, again, quick, efficient care, mitigating hospitalizations, catching before it. I don't think Todd Chambers would mind me mentioning him. He has a home care here in Denver, and he was saying the other day that some doctor happened to look at the dashboard of his patient. They just kind of wonder, how doctors might have a sixth sense about something, and the person was crashing and got immediate care before it would have ever. That would have been a major tragedy in the hospital.
Well, I was going to say, just having the ability to, see essentially in real time, the last, 6 months, the last even 2 weeks or 1 week. I mean, a snapshot of, things like weight, pulse oxygenation, glucose levels, all the things that you're measuring.
And I would get all of them, and my dashboard would reflect all of it because that's a full snapshot of me, except for blood sugar if I'm not diabetic. But I'm just saying that it's not only live time info, but it's also trends. And a doctor,
Right.
you can print it out and send it to your doctor, or send it to your doctor if they're not. If you're saying to yourself, well, how do I get the data to my doctor? There are programs. We have programs for doctors and entities to actually have this as part of their practice. And Medicare has programs to pay for RPM CCM. And most of the caregivers know that, but we have MD Revolution that we work with for that, for big practices who want this for all of their patients. And I think, again, rather than just take one piece of data in a vacuum and one piece of data at an office visit, or, okay, I have my blood pressure because I have a blood pressure problem, but what about my weight? What about my, add all the data, and then you get a true picture for a month. And you and I both know, if you look at a graph, you can see the highs and the lows within literally a second. It takes the doctors no time to scan that and say, bingo, she's got this, or wow, all looks good. We're not changing meds this month.
Nice. Yeah, that's got to be an invaluable service, just to be able to get that kind of information about your patients. So what can you tell us is on the horizon for Electronic Caregiver? What are some things that you guys are thinking, I mean, that you can share with us? That's, as far as like new products or new services, what's coming up for you guys?
Yeah, and I started out by saying we have these two products. We specialize in these two products. Why? Because they're the best in the best, and you just saw all that they can do, all that we've thought of. The next step in the process of aging, again, we're all aging since age one. The next process in aging is those who now are at the precipice of, do I need to go to an assisted living? Do I need to move out of my home? Do I need to have caregivers around the clock? Whatever it is going to be. In the future, we're going to have Addison and Addison Care, or Addison. If you look up or Google the name Addison Electronic Caregiver, you will see that we have, we're going to be debuting the first virtual caregiver, who essentially we've worked on there for so long that she has, again, everything. I mean, she can read you a bedtime story if you want. She can look at your eyes and check your pupils. She can see if your gait is changing. Think of that. I mean,
Wow.
if your gait just slightly changed and she already did an assessment, Mr. Jones, you're changing your gait, family member, whoever they're talking to, we need to get you to, somebody to find out why. Is your sodium running low? Whatever it is. A diabetic can walk into the house with their groceries and talk to Addison, and Addison will ask the person, would you like to have a different menu tonight or a different recipe tonight? And ask those kinds of, virtual, AI technology is interactive. So even Addison could say, well, you're not looking like you're feeling very well today, Mr. Baker. Tell me more about,
Interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a camera, there's a visual component.
There
Is it
is.
kind of like, so is it safe to say that it's sort of like the Alexa of of um,
Not
of home care, or not even close?
similar. I mean, Alexa, you can call out. It's a voice activated like ours. That's what's really important. And we've learned that from Lely's talk, about how people in these, during COVID, 40 people in one residence had COVID. And so we need that voice activation when people are bedridden. Ours is a tablet. Studies have shown that
Okay.
with our aging population, though that category is become very proficient at tablets. But again, not a difficult tablet, not a lot of thought process. Again, plug and go, just like we've always had. All the technology is similar, right? So we, with Addison, it's basically plug and go. So it's going to be ready to go. Addison, then with the setup of Addison, things can be programmed in, especially for, again, instead of medication reminders on these other devices, it's going to be Addison doing the medication reminder. Addison watching you take the medication. In some cases, that's important, right? Because Dad said he took the medicine, but you can say, Addison, did I take my medicine today? And she'll tell you yes or no. You don't even have to remember, right? I mean, it's amazing. You'll really look it up, Patrick. You would love Addison.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. How can folks get a hold of you to learn more about Electronic Caregiver?
Electroniccaregiver.com /care partners. I have to look it up. I'm going to send it to you. But my website I have, and then I have, of course, my phone number is 30. Should I say it?
Sure.
303-809-1134. And then my email, mbcares365@gmail.com. You can always go to electroniccaregiver.com, and the front office will get any communication necessary to me. So that's
Great.
Yeah.
And I think it's also on your flyer. I think your website address is
Oh,
on
I
your
think it is
flyer
there.
as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying that, because I know it. One time Jan should chime in, but since you're not, we're recording, but she told me I had to put the HTTP, which I didn't. I didn't know that. So I thought it was ECG Care Partners /Marybeth, and I thought that's how the person could reach me. But I think you have to have the HTTP or whatever it is. You know better than I. HTTP.
HTTP or HTTPS, the S is the secure one. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay. So you're the tech
And
person.
yeah. Anyhow, well, listen, Marybeth, thank you so much for joining us today. And let me just share let me just share my screen again really quick.
Oh, they're sending me on the chat. Can you see that?
Oh, here we go. Let's see what we got on the chat.
Yeah, can you say it, Patrick? Because it's.
Oh yeah, ecgcarepartner.com/Marybeth.
Care partner singular, not plural, just.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for
Thank you,
that, Travis.
Travis. And can I say one last thing, Patrick?
Absolutely. Go for it. Yeah.
I called Patrick early on, as soon as I met him, to help me with things on my computer. He came to my house. He was professional, efficient, because again, he kept my charges down, and I appreciated that. And I want to let you know, Patrick, that meant a lot to me and helped me a lot. I took notes the whole time Patrick was there, and resolved numerous problems while he was at my house for only 1 hour. I think you were only there.
Yeah.
1 hour. Changed my
Well,
life.
thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to share I should be back to my presentation at this point. Is that what you're seeing? Senior Tech Coffee schedule? Excellent. All right. So just to let folks know, coming up, first off, Senior Tech Coffee, we meet on the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. The next one is going to be on June 16th. It's just going to be me talking about secure messaging and file transfer apps. So what are some ways that you can use encrypted communication to share confidential information? Let's say you have to share your birth date and social security number, and you can't talk to somebody on the phone, or someone can't hear you very well on the phone. What's a secure way you can send something like that? Or even some of the documentation like advanced directives, or maybe a copy of your last will and testament. How can you securely send these types of documents? So we'll be talking about those kinds of things. And then I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about in July yet, but stay tuned. You can learn more at the website address that you see below. And in addition, you can contact me. Best way to get a hold of me is either to call the number you see, or just go to primeoflifetech.com, and there's a contact form. My phone number's also posted there. And you can get access to helpful information as well as the Senior Tech Coffee schedule coming up. Also, Senior Tech Coffee is on YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll be posting this talk, and all of my previous talks are also posted on the channel. So anyhow, really appreciate everyone joining us today in the audience. And again, Marybeth, for taking the time out of your schedule to be on Senior Tech Coffee. So
Thank you. Thanks,
everyone,
everybody.
have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.